Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
And away we go. Oh my God. Do you know what is about to happen?
What's about to happen?
Oh, we're gonna record a podcast.
Okay.
Matinee Edition, episode number 51.
Podcasts that are they're the thing right
Sorry.
now.
I like, they're
Hello,
hot.
fellow kids.
They're hot like you hot dogs. In case you didn't notice by the title, because you probably clicked on it if you are listening to this, this is an episode of Matinee Edition. I'm Jared. This is I'm talking to my friend
Lucas.
This is
Hey-ho.
episode Area 51. Snuck it in there. Snuck it. And, you know, fun times, fun weeks, fun things. What's been happening with you lately, man? What's been happening in your last week or so?
Dude, nothing too crazy. I will say I had to write for my job. Shockingly, me and Jared aren't getting paid for this yet.
Oatly. Where are you? Oh, hey.
But
speaking of, I am.
I had to write.
I got some.
Oh, lovely. Is it Toddy and Oatly?
Yeah, but the toddy, I'm just trying to drink it at this point. It's been sitting in my fridge for like a little bit too long.
Ooh, disappointing.
Yeah, but
just a pinch of sugar in there, lighten it up. Dude,
right
the most eventful thing / difficult thing I had to do last week was I had to write a objective and impersonal article about both presidential candidates.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It was extremely frustrating to write.
For sure. I mean,
I was pissed by the end of it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Just being neutral about Trump ruined my week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just strange. Me and some friends are talking about that. Like, we never like to talk too much in politics, but like, it's just one of those things. Like, I just don't understand that it's like a base character, how people connect with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's amongst everything. That's one of my weirdest worries about him. It's just sort of like, why do people like? It's that I did an episode on QAnon, and that was one of my things. I was just like, the weirdest thing about that conspiracy theory to me is that people believe that Donald Trump is doing something good.
Dude, I will say, I will recommend this to our listeners. A couple of weeks ago, the New York Times podcast, The Daily, they did an episode where they went to, I want to say, Pennsylvania, but like interstate, they stay away from large metropolitan areas, and they went to a bunch of places that were like longtime Democratic voters that flipped for Trump, and it was fascinating. It was one of those like really like what. Like, to me, as somebody that lives on the West Coast, I'm just like, these people, what the fuck is wrong with them? Dude. But then it's like, it's lived experience. You never know. Mm-hmm. But I will extend this to our listeners as well. If you haven't voted yet, get out there and vote.
Amen.
I voted.
You got to get out there and vote. I keep mentioning it as many times as I can.
Earlier than later.
Yeah. Just get out there, do what you can. I mean, for those of you that may be standing in long lines in order to do that, we have plenty of content on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. So get up there.
You might even pay for another month of SoundCloud to get people through those.
Oh, man, maybe. But either way,
the real backlog.
Get out there. Yeah, I agree with you. Get out there and vote. And thank you for actually voting and participating. Yeah. You know,
use your voice.
But that being said, like there's tons of other things going on besides the shitty falling and collapsing government that we have around us.
Right.
Which actually I did just mention on my birthday catch-up episode. So
Hey.
Get up there and check it out on Coffee and Contemplation.
There it is.
I mean, like, there's been like wild news in terms of like movies and stuff, which always leaves me wondering if they're just rumors and hopes and dreams, or if there are actual plans that studios are making in terms of like getting back to filming and whatnot. I mean, filming's got to be strange right now either way. So
I can imagine.
I'm interested in a lot of these things.
Did you? Why don't we start with the stuff we have left to talk about, and we can go into the bigger rumors at the end of the show. I think this episode is going to be entirely rumor mill. So
it's a lot, man. So
it's a lot. What was it? The rumor mill?
Yeah. Classic rumor mill grind.
There it is. Let's start. There's casting announcements for Furiosa, so I don't think that this is much of a rumor. Mad Max Fury Road was, in my opinion, the best action movie of the 2010s.
And I'd have to think about that just in general, but I don't disagree with you. It's an amazing movie.
It's an amazing movie. I don't think in that decade I saw anything that I would deem better. Like No Country for Old Men is probably up there. I'm excluding like traditional blockbusters.
Yeah, but I mean those are also like different genres, probably.
Yeah. Just quality filmmaking that also has an action angle.
For sure.
So like Anya Taylor-Joy's in it. Chris Hemsworth is in it, and there's another dude. I'm forgetting his name. I need to look it up.
So we got a Norse god, a mutant, and
mutant / like
a new mutant.
Shyamalan. Shyamalan.
I remember, like, I feel like months ago I saw what was at that time a casting rumor that she was cast as Furiosa.
Yeah, which. I think it's fascinating, like that they're not going with Charlize Theron, because yes, she is. She's like almost 50 or something, but she looks great.
She's beautiful and she's fucking amazing at her in her stunt choreography and like the shit that she does herself for her movies. But I feel like
the third dude that was cast was Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. I'm gonna look at. I recognize.
Oh yeah, dude, that was Black Manta.
Oh, okay, sure. That's where I recognize him from.
Yeah. I'd have to look it up, but double check it. But I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like it's. I don't know, man. It'd be a cool movie, like just to see what they do.
It was Black Manta,
but I'm just so curious as to. I don't mean this in any disrespect, but like, where was the idea, the spark? Was her character really like the I would say she probably was. She was probably the standout of that movie of Fury Road.
I think that's something that's really cool about the Mad Max franchise is that Max is just like this, like he's like a nomadic character that comes across these other random people, and they're really the crux of the story, and he's just this outside force.
They're more like he's kind of this like interesting way of introducing the world, this world and these characters, rather than like being a huge focus. He's just kind of like in on the action. You know?
I think in Fury Road, Max had it was something like 22 lines overall.
Fair enough.
Excluding just random grunts and noises, but like in Road Warrior, he has like 11. Yeah. He's near silent the whole movie. He's just like a vessel for the audience to go through.
Yeah, which
I think the storytelling potential of that universe, considering there's only been 4 movies over about 35 years, like it's ripe for interesting stories.
And I agree. It's kind of an untapped. It has like this untapped well there, just sort of sitting, waiting to be like, flushed out, because there's these there's characters that they even introduced in past movies that they could sort of like find ways of not necessarily reintroducing, but building on or recreating in future movies that would also like help really kind of make this whole universe fun and also captivating. But like with Furiosa, like what do you think they're going to be like, going for? Like just kind of like a younger, like how she fucking came up kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, like they pretty much were in the movie. They sort of talked about her backstory as like she was from that like clan of warrior woman where the old ladies from the end of the movie were. But by that time, they'd all already died off. but they were talking about her getting like kidnapped by the main villain in Fury Road, and her and her mom. Like, I think it would be interesting seeing her being this like cutthroat badass, essentially bringing herself up. She was like before she broke off from the villain, she was like his right hand. She was at his right hand.
Yeah,
she was up there. So I think it would be interesting seeing her like going up through the ranks as I think Anya Taylor-Joy's like early 20s. So seeing a younger Furiosa just starting to work her way up the ladder.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean that alone gives you plenty of ground to like kind of build like what the fuck is that society kind of like, you know?
Yeah. Which I mean, and the bits we see in Fury Road are just like crazy shit.
Insane. I was like, fuck this noise.
I think the interesting thing about that movie is that you have no time to breathe with anything. It's just like, oh, they're going through this region and there's a bunch of dudes with spiky cars, but then they get out of it and it disappears.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what the progress is of this, because that kind of, you know, slowly seeing the cast solidify is exciting.
Yeah.
I wonder what the fuck Hemsworth's going to be doing though.
Who knows?
Who knows, man?
I hope it's not like
I
really hope he's the villain.
That'd be cool. It'd be an interesting turn of events. I think I've only seen him kind of play like a villain sort of character in like one movie. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, you can't think of it because he's just such a charismatic guy. But I think like it's like The Rock. The only time he played a villain was like in Get Smart. Like that's it.
Steve
But I do
Carell
think
classic.
like having a fun sort of like overly charismatic crazy villain or something, or like
would be really cool, and it'd be really fitting for
really
that kind of, I don't know, world that they've been building, because everything is like, fuck, I don't know, it's just ramped up to 11, and so I think insane. Hemsworth would fit right in with doing some sort of insane character in that.
What's crazy is like they were talking about how like in Fury Road itself, they get to a point and they have like the war party from the Citadel, which is where Furiosa was from, chasing them, and they look on both horizons, and there's two other war parties coming from different settlements, and we get nothing other than the different people from them.
Yeah,
like it's world building that's so sparse, but it gives depth, and it's so ripe with potential. Like, what was it? The bullet farm and like oil something. Like it was insane.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, there's a fuckload of potential based on basically just like the different like random plot potential points that they put, and like you're right, there's the characters themselves that they introduced, even though they were sort of like side piece characters.
Yeah,
they were like, they represent a whole bigger like unknown territory that you can explore.
Absolutely.
I mean, it'd be cool, dude. I'm rooting for this movie to be to be successful, because it would be really fun to see what else they could pop out of that. Now that we're really talking about this,
you should check out. It's probably cheap now, but I think like 4 or 5 years ago there was a Mad Max game that came out. It should be on like PS4, where you can it opens up that world and you can actually find all the places from Fury Road, but then there's a lot more to do.
Oh, damn!
And it has the same combat style as like Arkham and Spiderman.
Okay.
So that's like cool, more grounded and a bit more chunky feeling. It was a lot of fun.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. Thanks for. I didn't realize that they had tried to make a game out. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, it was a blast. It was like a mix of like a combat brawler and a driving game, and it was fascinating. It was a really fun game if I'm remembering it properly. Those guys are now making a Harry Potter game, an open world Harry Potter game for the next gen consoles.
Oh yeah. That'll be interesting. When Guardian Leviosa and shit.
Yeah.
Expelliarmus.
Was it what was it? Excelsior? That's not
No.
that's not it.
Rest in peace to Stan Lee, though, man. Shit.
Oh man. Shall we get into the rest of the podcast, which will just be the MCU?
Basically, the Stan, that was actually an appropriate segue. Yeah, dude. There's been like, I mean, we talked about Spider-Man on the last episode, but there's just so much floating around that particular movie all of a sudden that branches and that leads into so much other stuff.
You can't tell what's floating around to such a point that you don't know what's a Hershey's bar and what's a turd. Like they're like it's
true, man. They're all in the same pool, but what the
they're
fuck
all in the
are
same
they?
pool. You never know you never know what's going to be until you grab it.
Are they news? Are they rumors? Are they just like, I swear to God, I feel like they put things out just to bait people and see what ideas get popular sometimes.
Dude,
and they kind of lead with some of that. I swear that's a theory I have, dude.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised. I do think that, and like some actors totally buy into it and are like, fuck yeah. Like look at John Krasinski in Mr. Fantastic. He's totally bought into that.
Exactly, man. I think we have as a collective social presence, we have a little more like, I mean, they're like they use us as like this like weird judging tool as like would this casting work or be accepted or
we changed Sonic. We made Sonic look good.
I mean, it's kind of true. People fucking hated that and they changed it.
And he actually, like, the Sonic that ended up coming out looked like the Sonic from the games. So
yeah, I still haven't watched it, but I'm kind of interested to at least check it out.
I'm intrigued because I've heard it's fine. You know?
Yeah,
like,
I've heard.
I still want to watch like Detective Pikachu because I've heard it's fine. Like childhood nostalgia.
Yeah,
but the I do think that's especially when it comes to Sony. I think that they're totally down for that. That's why I think the whole Spider-Man being pulled out of the MCU from like about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Was I think it was a tool of leverage for them in negotiations with Disney rather than them actually saying that he was out.
Yeah.
I think they use it for leverage in negotiations. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're doing a similar thing right now. If some of the rumors that we've heard are bullshit just to like prove to Disney that it's something people want.
I couldn't agree more, dude. Like, and I'm hopping on that train. The moment I saw that unconfirmed rumor that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire had been like
tugboat
put on this, the movie, I was just like, what the fuck, dude? I'm down with how crazy this movie's about to be.
Did you see today that there was a supposedly leaked casting call for Miles Morales testing?
I did. There was like some sort of like footage of something of like a casting or
dude,
something.
You know what audition. Who I want for that?
Who?
I think his name's Caleb McLaughlin from Stranger Things.
Oh shit, dude, that would be dope.
He was perfect. He's already a New Yorker. Seeing
there you go.
Like there you go. He looks like the animated version of Miles Morales.
I'd be so intrigued by that, like by adding Miles Morales to this next movie. Like it would be such a good move. That character got so popular,
dude. Especially if I think like this would be the last big hurrah for in the form of a solo movie for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. He might be put on the back burner for a bit, like showing up in Avengers, but not really leading the charge with the franchise. As to not milk that character too much.
Yeah. It could be. I mean, very well could be. Like it's hard pressed, I think, to do 3 movies.
Yeah.
And keep people's attention. It's really hard to go past that.
Yeah.
But okay, so we recently got the confirmed news that Doctor Strange is going to be in the movie, right?
Yes.
Which immediately makes you think that there's going to be some sort of, magical multiversal issue that Spider-Man's going to have to deal with, which is why these like sort of Sony kiboshed some of this, like especially the Garfield and Maguire news. They kiboshed that, saying that they were not confirmed.
Yeah. But Jamie Foxx is, right?
But Jamie Foxx is. And so that becomes like this, like, okay, so they are somehow pulling things from at least one other movie.
But then I feel like the Jamie Foxx casting it could also just be in the realm of like Mahershala Ali was in Luke Cage, and now he's going to be Blade. You know?
Yeah.
I think of that in the same way.
What if they pulled Willem Dafoe
That would be great.
back as the Green Goblin?
But I mean, like, I feel like that can fall enough under coincidence that like Jamie Foxx might have hated The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and was like, I like the idea of playing this character, and maybe approach them as like, we can do it better. It can be a different take.
Agreed. That could definitely, like, I mean, and I'm excited.
That's the cynical side of me that doesn't want fun.
I'm excited to see what he does with it. I just don't want a blue Electro. But yeah, like, it just leads to like this, like, what else are they potentially doing? I mean, Sam Raimi is like, I mean, he's got his hands all over Doctor Strange now.
Yeah.
He's played with some Spider-Man characters in the past. He, and Sony is also pressing in with some of the things that they want. Like, there's been info going around that states that Sony really is considering trying to like figure out how to get Eddie Brock's Venom into the next Spider-Man movie.
Dude, I'd want it. That'd be great.
It'd be great for Sony. It's just the rumor alone brings attention to their product. But
yeah, dude.
It'd be an amazing thing to all of a sudden make that crossover.
Here's poor Doctor Strange portal opens up, Venom steps through. It's the one from Spider-Man 3.
Well, so here's the thing that I read, though, is like this idea that like perhaps they're going through, because Spider-Man's like lore goes deep, like in terms of like they could play with so much. They could like do the spider totem thing where
Spider-Man has been like, he's been a fan favorite for longer than like any other superhero in the MCU.
But so like I read this thing that like they could, Doctor Strange could be having to take, Tom Holland's Spider-Man through a couple of different places, in terms of like maybe like other universes, or maybe they're going through and they just see glimpses of like some of these other characters in portals, or something.
That's what I would be more inclined to say, like that they weren't getting like these aren't casts, but they have to like credit somebody. I can imagine more so that Doctor Strange is like bringing him through like the web of the multiverse, like that imagery where you can see like little glimpses into him, and they're like little clips from the other movies.
Yeah, I could see that too. But I also see all this information as being like, ripe for the idea that like maybe they're trying to fish out the popularity of a potential Spider-Verse live action thing, especially if there's like also news of Miles Morales potentially actually being cast and introduced in Spider-Man 3 now. It could be a good way of secretly keeping that character sort of low key, introducing him fully, and then expanding on the other two previous Spider men. Dude, I mean, like, in a live action eventually. I think they're fishing us right now, dude.
I think so too. I would honestly, like, at this point, I feel like I like Doctor Strange's edition. But I would like my original idea for what this franchise is going to be was like, oh yeah, so we're going to have like Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, and then the third one they're going to introduce Miles Morales and like hand it off, and maybe they'll do some crazy stuff later. But it's fascinating to me that they might introduce Miles Morales at the same time as they're jumping off. So just from like a narrative perspective, I feel like it worries me slightly that throwing too much shit at the viewer, you'll lose the attachment that the MCU is really
Let me just say this. Everyone. I feel like that's the curse of Spider-Man 3. That's what happened with the last Spider-Man 3.
And The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
They forced Venom into it, and they forced like too much going on, and it became a shit show. And you're right.
That's Venom. That's Sony's problem. I wouldn't be surprised if it sort of even happened with Venom.
Well, they're so desperate to get their properties popular. That's the problem. Like it, and I don't.
I think they lose what made the MCU popular in the first place.
Yeah. And
it's that people liked the characters, and they were like, underneath all of it, they're people, and they're realistic people with understandable motivations.
Yeah, and they finally found way like filmmakers.
Nobody can fucking sympathize with Morbius.
Well, that's the thing, man. They've just found filmmakers and people who can look at these properties in in ways that like need to be interpreted for the screen, and they've just found people that do a really good job at interpreting those characters and that kind of vibe you get from the comics.
Yeah.
But Sony
Eventually,
has just not hit that yet.
Absolutely. Eventually, you can get into the crazier stuff, though. I mean, like, look at Love and Thunder coming out.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, exactly. Like, you can get crazy, and hopefully they continue to push the boundaries, because that'll open up a lot as they go for other companies. So
the comics do get crazy at a lot of points, and in most cases, it's done relatively well. There's only a few big duds. Like, what would be amazing if the MCU managed to pull off a Clone Saga.
Oh my god, yeah, that would be amazing.
The one biggest stain on Marvel Comics in like the past 30 years was that comic run, and it's garbage.
They can pull it off, man.
They tried to do it again recently with the Clone Conspiracy in the comics, and that was bad too.
This is some things you just have to let go.
They even brought Ben Reilly back.
Just let it go. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm just intrigued. I hope they don't run into the curse of Spider-Man 3 and just end up fucking jamming too much in there. But
yeah, the one thing that I like about it, though, when it comes to the deal between Sony and Marvel, is that essentially Marvel produces everything and Sony makes all the money. That's not how it works when they're making like Venom and stuff. So, which also brings me a bit of hope that like if they bring Venom in, then Marvel will step in and be like, hey, this fucker's in our universe now. We want to take care of him. We want to do the treatment for these guys.
Exactly. So they might just step up Sony's game.
Force them to.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, that like I said, like we started this with, there's just a lot of like weird like quasi rumors and like unconfirmed things and possibly confirmed things circling this movie all of a sudden. So it's just really interesting.
Which I want to bring up, the reason that everything's like, we all realize like, oh, all this stuff isn't confirmed, we should take it with a grain of salt, is because the actress who we thought was going to be playing She-Hulk came out and was like, it's bullshit. It's a lie.
That was literally what kind of helped spark all this. It was all of a sudden like, wait, that was off. Like, that was supposed to be confirmed like a couple weeks ago or some shit. Like, felt like. And so, it's just don't ever forget, dear hot dogs, that like some of these things are exciting, but probably not happening.
Well, so I do actually, there are a couple things that are exciting that I want to bring up. The major investors at Disney want Black Widow to come out on streaming.
Fair enough.
In the relatively immediate future.
That makes sense.
And one of them essentially said, like, a major investor came out and said, like, they're not aware of the tiger that they have by the tail in the form of the community. People want to watch their shit, and they might not make as much money, but if they're changing their model to lean into streaming more and more, and it's like they need to drive traffic on Disney Plus from a business perspective.
Yeah.
Like, that'll make everyone happy. People will watch Black Widow.
Yeah, won't. Fuck yeah.
I think Mulan flopped because that movie already had so much going against it. But people love the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think that would be a better test of the actual efficiency of a streaming platform versus like traditional cinema going.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and if they're smart, they will start like working on getting ahead of that shit.
Yeah.
And they have a perfect opportunity with Black Widow. Just camping on that movie is just going to keep losing interest and losing money. And so they need to just get that.
Just want to watch it.
Yeah. And people will pay more. People will, like other content that they put out, will hop on and get Disney Plus even.
Absolutely.
Just to watch it. You know what I mean? So
and then also more good news is that Natalie Portman, like, just in an interview, totally confirmed that they're doing the Mighty Thor run. I don't know if you saw this, but she was just like, Jane Foster has cancer. She has to hold the hammer to stay alive. It's sort of an interesting character drama there. And I was just like, fuck, they're actually doing it.
It's just funny because it's like she mentions the Mighty Thor run in one interview, and she is like, I can't give away much, and then she just keeps going around like giving away so much.
Yeah, I was like, that's a big plot point that's really important to that storyline.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to that either way, though. That's fucking cool. I'm
Yeah.
interested to see how they're going to pull it off.
Did you also see that the working title for it is called Big Salad?
Yeah, Big Salad.
So I think Thor's gonna be skinny again.
I think so.
Who knows though? I'm just excited for that movie because it is confirmed that they were looking for a actor of African descent to play so that's what's confirmed, is that they're looking for a child actor of African descent, which brings me to theorize that they're looking for a young Heimdall, and they're going to be dealing with reincarnation.
Interesting.
Like the comics, whenever Ragnarok happens and people die in it, they come back as young gods again.
Yeah, dude, that would be a really cool, like, kind of plot point in the movie.
Yeah,
Heimdall was like, that was one of the, like, I mean, it seemed like so, just background, but his death was like what the fuck, dude? Like, I was like, why did they kill him? Like, he was such a
Heimdall
good
died,
overall.
and Idris Elba might as well have been going like, I had to be in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, basically, I guess that's kind of he was probably like, I got other shit to do.
Yeah, I want to play James Bond, and I want to be in the Suicide Squad.
Man, I want him as James Bond. That'd be fucking dope.
Yeah. So we're nearly at time.
Yeah.
But what have we been watching? What have you been watching recently?
Oh man, well, for me, as usual this time of year, I just step up a lot of my horror movies that I love.
Interesting.
I've been watching like a handful of like series off and on, nothing like too solid at the moment. Netflix, I've been watching The Haunting of Hill House. Yeah. Which is it's actually pretty spooky and pretty well put together. And there's like a new season that's kind of like they're kind of doing like
Bly Manor.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, I think, in that American Horror Stories vein where it's like each series is done by the same people.
It's like an anthology.
Yeah,
that makes that makes sense. Do you know that the Bly Manor place is based on a home in Lakewood?
Oh no, I did not know that.
Yeah, it's on America Lake. It's a big like castle, and people rent it out to do weddings and stuff. Oh, and I guess in that season they have like a specific thing of being able to see someone in a mirror, and that's actually something that's been reported at that manor.
Oh, wild.
It's insane that it's like weirdly local to where we're at.
Yeah, that's very close. That's wild. Yeah, I'm interested to check out that season, but Haunting of Hill House is pretty cool so far. Also, nice. It's basically like the same story. It's derived from a book, and it's like the same story as the I don't know if you ever saw the 90s movie The Haunting.
I've not.
It's the same characters and everything, but just in a different type of movie or setting.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, it's I've just been watching spooky shit. Like I just watched Scream. I watched Jason Lives.
Nice.
I watched Freddy 3. All sorts of fucking shit. That's usually what I'm watching this time of year.
Did you gotta watch the first Terminator?
Oh man, I mean, why watch it when I have the Terminator novel?
Oh boy.
Yeah, I did just pull that out of nowhere. Hot dogs, you can't see it, but
that was impressive. At arm's reach.
I've been trying. Complete segue real quick. I've been trying to get this crappy Old Heart audiobook thing off the ground, and actually that's the first book I'm trying to read. So.
Do it chapter by chapter.
What have you been watching though? What have you been digging into?
Naturally, the Great British Baking Show. We have totally different tastes for spookiness. I don't watch any horror movies because jump scares freak me out.
I love horror, man.
Dude, I've never really enjoyed it. Weirdly enough, I think it's like good horror is like it pushes filmmaking in interesting ways. Mm-hmm. But there's something about. I mean, it's scary, and I'm just bad about it.
I feel you. But we both love the Great British Baking Show.
We both love the Great British Baking Show. So I've been watching the weekly releases of that. Nice. I'm watching Peaky Blinders.
Nice.
Blinders. I just finished the first season, and it's wildly good so far.
Dude, it's awesome. And I imagine you're gonna keep diving in, but Tommy is a weirdly interesting character. You don't necessarily he's one of those characters you just fucking like at times you hate, at times you really fucking like you're behind. And I don't know. It's a really well done show. I'm stoked to
keep
watching it.
I keep thinking of it, but have you watched Sons of Anarchy?
I haven't. I haven't ever.
If you like Peaky Blinders, you should watch Sons of Anarchy because it's the same shit. Just 80 years later. It's the same thing.
Interesting.
Just with a different skin on it. And like the main character of Sons of Anarchy is even personality wise is so similar to Tommy. It's bizarre to me. And I was like, that show goes off the rails in like the last season, but it's still an enjoyable watch if you have nothing else. So yeah, that's what I've been watching.
What an interesting connection.
But cool. I will also say this, you should check it out. And listeners, you should check it out. There's a game called Cyberpunk coming out in a bit. Cyberpunk 2077. Keanu Reeves is going to be in it.
Yes.
And dude, I just pre-ordered that shit for the next gen consoles and it looks absolutely insane. Like
nice.
You should, and like I guess it was originally like a pen and paper RPG or something.
Okay, yeah, probably.
And it has like this weird, like it's the first game, but like there's this weirdly deep, like comics and like books and like all that type of shit going back.
Oh.
It's made by the same people that make The Witcher, so I'm excited for that.
Nice, man, nice.
Might have to hijack Coffee and Contemplation and do a game review.
Did you? Yeah, you should, man. You should. Yeah. I just got the Tony Hawk remake, so I've been kick flipping around on that.
Dude, there's a Need for Speed remaster coming out, and I immediately hopped on that shit.
Dude, I got to be honest. Like, at first I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I want to pay for it, but it's so smooth, and the gameplay and like everything looks so slick. I was just like, fuck yeah, dude. It's just fun skating.
Yeah, it's fun. Dude, who doesn't love the old Tony Hawk games? There aren't games like that anymore.
There aren't, man.
And when are we gonna get Guitar Hero remastered?
Oh,
Talk about a franchise. Like music beat games have completely disappeared.
They have. They were hot as fuck for a second though.
They were hot as fuck from 2006 to 2008, and then they disappeared.
All right, dear listener, dear hot dog. I think we've made it. We did another full Area 51. I mean, episode 51. That was a genuine slip.
There you go.
Go out there and find us on Instagram.
Twitter.
And Twitter.
Old Heart in Space on Twitter.
Yeah, Old Heart in Space. And,
Take some Oatly.
Yeah, slip it down.
Take some Oatly. Tweet Oatly that they should sponsor Old Heart in Space.
Exactly. We can't be the only ones trying to campaign. Get on it, hot dogs, if you listen to the
and then more so, go out and vote. That's what matters right now.
For sure. The Oatly aside,
go out and vote.
Go do your civic.
We're sponsored by the American Political Election. Not getting paid at all because they're cheap.
No, nobody pays us. Nobody pays us.
Nobody pays us. We do this for the passion.
You're goddamn right. All right. I guess have a good day, folks.
Cheerio. Sweet.
Oh, wait, not and.
Oh.